Christmas dinner is next that we're gonna talk about, but before we do that, I'm gonna jump President's prerogative and streamline OCAPA structure update. Basically, we've done all the structure changes that we're going to. We have an open position. I need a vice president. The vice president for our new structure is actually the president in training. As you notice, there's not a whole lot to do. You stand up here, you look good, and you know, speak to people. I've got half of that down. I'm working on the look good part. But we need a vice president, okay? We need it for the bookkeeping. We need it to make decisions if something were to happen to me and I was unavailable, like when I go to Xenia next May. Tom is now our Public Information Officer, PIO, and he'll be continuing in the role, so he's no longer our vice president. So if you want to be vice president of vice, or you know somebody that would like to step in and learn how we do this, then next year, when we have an officer change, they'll be the president, because that's our new process. And then they'll have to find a vice.
Well, I keep asking Sandy, she's pleasant, she's got a nice personality, and I don't get a no, but I don't get a yes.
I asked her this morning too, in a separate conversation, the hysterical laughter that accompanied it kind of gave me my answer. A lot like that.
We'll help you all.
That sounds like a Nancy Pelosi cackle.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff that the vice president has to do other, kind of like in our country, except stand in for the president when they're not available. So, think about it. If you're here and you want to think about it, let me know. If you're shy, don't worry about it. You can be the invisible person in the room. We'll go from there. Christmas dinner. You shouldn't have sat down. I told you.
Okay.
He needs the exercise.
Annual Christmas dinner, second Tuesday of December, the 13th of December. The reason we didn't go with the third Tuesday is that would be about 3 days before Christmas, so I figured that was bumping up against the holiday pretty closely. We'll be at the Golden Corral, I-240. Spouses and spouselings are welcome. We'll gather at about 6 o'clock. Once everybody is thoroughly examined the buffet line, we'll have a drawing for prizes, and we have great prizes this year. So see all of you there, 6 o'clock, 13th of December, Golden Corral.
Second Tuesday?
Second Tuesday. Second Tuesday.
I know.
It's the 13th if it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's the 13th.
Yeah.
The reason I know that is my...
So dinner is the 13th, Tuesday the 13th?
Yes, Tuesday the 13th.
I will change that.
I know that because my wife's birthday is the 15th, and God help me if I forget that.
He's denying all knowledge of birthday.
Yes. Okay, new business. Tom, you sat down too soon?
Back
I
up.
want to tell just a quick joke on the 15th. You're right about your wife doing you in, because that's, I believe, when Brutus slew.
No, that's
Caesar.
March. That's the Ides of
March.
March.
Well, the Ides is the 15th of any month.
Whatever.
month changes.
Okay, new piece of business that I brought forward, typically about once a year in return for the use of the facility. We do not pay for the use of WIC line, neither does Cora. And Cora we proposed at the last meeting informally to make some sort of honorarium to WIC line. I'd like to propose that to OCAPA. I think last year we did, 100. The treasurer is not in, I don't know. Okay. I think we did 100 last year as a donation to the youth program at WIC line in return for the use of the facility. We have several non-WIC line, or as we like to call them, friends of WIC line, that meet here. There's a travel club, Rotary Club, a couple of Girl Scout Brownie troops meet here, a couple of other non-WIC line groups meet here. They all do some sort of donation back. So I won't propose the amount. I'll let.
I move that the club approve $150 a year for the foreseeable future, as long as we're using these facilities, as a donation to Wickline in the name of OCAPA and amateur radio.
I second that motion.
Show of hands, all in favor?
I'll recuse.
Opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, I
But I
forgot.
have a reason, it's not just a flat no.
Okay,
I don't have any problem with the 150. My problem is in perpetuity. My recommendation would be give them $150 and make sure that this comes up by rule in a meeting every year, rather than just obligate somebody in the future.
modification to the amendment or to the motion is accepted by me?
And who seconded it?
I second too.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask for next. I didn't ask for discussion. Is there any discussion of this? Does anybody have heartburn or any other issues? And if you're not comfortable bringing it up, see me after the club.
Okay.
Okay, we moved,
Vote on the
accepted, and
Vote on the modification.
we already voted on,
Okay.
on the modification, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Acceptance.
Okay.
Brad's no longer-
Okay, do we have any other new business? Anybody need anything? Oh, I saw two hands. Yours was faster. Okay.
There's a chance that we may need to either replace the duplexer or get some kind of a pre-selector in front of the Integris repeater. And the reason is that although that noise, we may find the source and get whomever owns it to fix it, there's not an assurance of that. So a new duplexer that has a tighter front end and a narrower bandwidth and a band reject capability would probably do that. I don't remember how much money I'm authorized to expend. Do you?
I think it's $150 in the Constitution.
Okay. This may cost just over
Time out,
that,
just a
so
second.
probably,
Hang on. You remember?
No, but, is it possible that the duplexer for the original .3 repeater, a UHF repeater that was up there, could be retuned? It's a 4-cavity duplexer, fits on a 19-inch rack panel, it's in my
Right.
garage.
and that may be better, although the repeater cavities right now are 6-cavity
Okay.
duplexer. So that may not gain us anything. Don Clark has another one that we may be able to get reasonably priced, and one of the guys he works with is able to tune it, so we'd be able to just take one and just do a swap out and not have to buy anything.
Just a suggestion.
Can
So-
we use our old one as trade-in?
I guess we could, I don't know.
I would recommend against that, because there may be a possibility later to get that .3 repeater working and install it at some other location, possibly even at Newcastle.
Well, if we buy you can buy a brand today off of eBay for about $125. You can buy a brand new duplexer, 6-cavity, that is already tuned for the frequency you want. You give them the frequency and they ship it to you. And that's what's in place out there now, and what we used at Crossroads all those years on the Fusion repeater. So, you know, that's a pretty low-hanging fruit there for that, and inexpensive. So,
Do
but
you
what
think-
we're really looking for is something that has the band narrow band pass from the receiver, rather than just a reject of the upper and lower.
I don't know how selective or what kind of power ratio there is. I have a Chinese duplexer for 440 sitting on a shelf in my hallway.
Well, that's what this is, but its origin was about 8 years ago, maybe? And it's set, and we don't know what's happened to it during that time. It's possible that it's either never that well tuned, or it's not tuned well enough now. So the point is, that they only have about a 1 dB insertion loss, so the idea is to try to get something with as narrow a band pass as possible to reject all this other noise that originates up in the city, and that's a pretty high RF environment.
So your bottom line recommendation is that we replace it with new equipment, because that's the best option going forward?
I didn't say, it's an attempt,
Okay.
you know.
Now, in that possibility,
maybe a lend purchase agreement with Don, if he comes up with a better one that's
Okay.
already tuned. And I'd say if we can just get an open thing for $200, and I'm cheap by nature, so we're not gonna spend any money if we don't have to.
That's the only thing cheap about amateur radio.
Participants.
Okay.
All you know how to tell how all hams are cheap, and how to tell a ham is cheap? If he has a number, it's call sign. That's it.
Okay, so the request is for a motion to potentially spend not to exceed $200 on equipment to make the Integris site work properly. Do I hear a motion from the floor for potential up to $200?
So
Macus has made the motion.
Second.
We have second. Any other discussion before I call the vote? Ms. Duskin?
Have you checked the, emergency frequencies and the, aircraft frequencies that Integris uses?
Well, the aircraft frequency, I think you're talking about the ELT thing, that's 122 megahertz, right? 122.5?
121.5.
121.
Outside the
But
range.
actually, yeah.
So that's way out of anything that probably could potentially affect us. Yeah. So
Intermod.
and that's probably what it really is intermod, but again, that's why I say it may not be possible to actually fix this. But understand that we're first gonna do the troubleshooting to see if we can identify the source and fix that, and not have to do anything and use our existing duplexer.
So it's a,
I know that Integris, I know Integris uses a lot of other radio frequencies within the hospital, like ICU monitoring, heart monitoring, the communications between emergency vehicles and communication between aircraft that land there. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty broad range.
Yes, and that's called an LTR system, and they operate up about, I think, 461 was the lowest frequency. So that's pretty good ways from 443, or 448 actually, for input.
okay. Any other discussion? Okay, to repeat the motion, it's a potential purchase of up to $200 if necessary for equipment to make the Integris repeater setup work properly. We've received the motion, we've received the second. All in favor, show of hands. Any opposed? So carried, unanimous. Thank you.
Train ride.
Okay,